Hey everyone, it's Daryl as a service. I'm writing an email or a couple of emails and I'm wanting to see how Copilot works within Outlook. I'm using the new Outlook so that I can access the Copilot assistance. And the email, I've got two emails to write. One that I am crafting between Lorian and I, and we're planning a trip to MVP Summit next year and just thinking about the friends and people that we're going to connect with. So how Copilot works within the new Outlook is that it is a button here to be able to launch in a couple of scenarios. You can get help with drafting the email from scratch. So I could give it some prompts and it can come back with some suggestions. But what I want to test and have a look at here is coaching by Copilot. So this requires me to write something to start with, and then it's going to give me some suggestions around tone and clarity and what's happening. So you can see the email that I've written. It's all sort of asking Lorian, hey, you know, we're going to be going to MVP Summit and it's been years since we've connected with people and let's think about some activities that we could try and do together with friends as we are connecting after hours. And let's just see what happens with coaching by Copilot. So we kick that off. It's going to go through the email and take a look at some of the language and analyze it. So that's interesting. While we're just running that one, I'll come back to a second email, and this is one where I've written it up. It is about kicking off a project. So this one's a bit more formal. This is reaching out to a client and saying, here, this is a piece of work that we're kicking off. You're the project sponsor, and looking just for some clarity around some of the objectives for that project. So I've dropped a few things there into that email, and let's just see also what kind of advice Copilot will come back with in coaching. So while that's analysing the second email, let's see if it's come back with some suggestions here for my email to Lorian. Right, so there's only one suggestion here, which is about tone. So the email is friendly and enthusiastic. It might sound a bit casual for the professional setting. Instead of hi Lorian, the email could say hello Lorian or dear Lorian. I don't know, I don't really often use dear in formal emails, but that's, I guess, appropriate. The interesting thing, of course, I ran this before starting to record, and as we do see often with Copilot, that we can get different results when we generate the same kind of activity. And I actually did get a few more different kinds of coaching points in my first run. So I'm just going to hit regenerate and see what it comes back with, if it's going to come back with more than just something about tone. So there was some other points that it came up with around clarity. There we go, that I'm a bit more interested in. So it's still suggesting that I make this email is about a professional event. I'm not sure if that's the case, but it suggests that the tone should match that. And hello Lorian or greetings Lorian. Very nice. Sentiment is one thing that it also looks at too. So as I've used this feature, it has gone through and picked up things like sentiment. What is the sentiment of this email? The email expresses excitement and interest in connecting with the MVP community. And what is it? The email could invite further communication by adding a question at the end. Do you have any suggestions for places for playing board games? What kind of games would you like to play? Again, I ran this earlier, and maybe I'll kick this off again as just a regenerate process, just to show you a third option that we see. But it's interesting how Copilot comes back with these additional suggestions, and I think that's good. It's like maybe I could make some of those changes. So maybe let's just say greetings Lorian. It's not like I've got a button here to say actually let's do that, so it's not going to go in and make those changes for me. So I will go greetings, change that to greetings Lorian. This sentiment, so what kind of games do you enjoy? Maybe let's finish that off there. What kind of games do you enjoy? It's almost like when we are working with prompts with Copilot or ChatGPT or whatever, that we're dropping in these prompts and we get responses back, and then we're telling the AI to refine what it comes back with and maybe put it in a table or do it in the style of. But this is more the reverse, that Copilot is telling me and I'm refining what I'm writing, and then I'll regenerate and see what it comes back with. Now, clarity. Email is vague about some aspects of the trip. True. I'm making assumptions, of course, because Lauren and I are planning to do this together, about the location, the budget. So, okay, it could be these are good suggestions, that if I wanted to give a bit more context, just to remind them of some of those details, that we're going to be here for a few days, so here's the dates and here's what we should plan for. The email could specify that the trip is taking place, where the summit activities are held. Yeah, so Copilot doesn't have any of that context, but as I'm writing it, I know because Laurie and I are planning it. So I'm not going to make any adjustments there, but I am going to click regenerate and see what it comes back with for a third time. And then we'll go over and have a look at that formal email, which is more around project communication. So does it still pick up, or I wonder if Copilot says, hey, good job, you made that change. What have we got now? Tone. Still sounds too casual. Okay, I didn't say still. The email sounds too casual and informal about business context. So it's still assuming that this is an email that is for business, but I guess I'm using a business tool, so maybe it's right in making that assumption. Let's have a look at sentiment. So the email assumes that the reader enjoys board games or similar activities. Ask the reader what kinds of games they enjoy, or if they have other suggestions. So it's almost like it ignored the the suggestion that I took on board about board games and added it at the end. So interesting that it doesn't see that there and it still makes the same suggestion. And for clarity, the email does not specify dates. So yeah, I didn't make any changes there, but not bad. And I think for emails like this is a good example. This is really just showing an example, some suggestions of changes that you might make to your email. It's not to say that maybe as I keep clicking regenerate that I expect to see, you know, those suggestions narrowed down till I've refined my email with all the coaching from Copilot and come up with the most brilliant, beautiful email that I should be proud of and print and put on my wall in a frame. Cool, but look, it's a good tool. Let's see how it does with the formal email around project communication. So tone. The email is polite and respectful. Why, thank you, Copilot. But it sounds a bit hesitant and unsure. And, you know, to be honest, and I'm being a bit transparent here, a bit vulnerable, sometimes my language is a bit like that. I do try and, as I am communicating, leave the options open, and sometimes I need to have a bit more confidence about what I'm writing and guide the person who's receiving it towards the direction I'm suggesting. Maybe that language itself was quite hesitant and unsure. So what is the suggestion? Instead of I don't know if the invite was extended to you, the email could say I hope you received the invite. Now I do like that, so let's have a look here. I don't know if the invite was accepted, but I hope you can make it. So that's the part that we can change. Let's just see if we can copy and paste. Oh, that's good. Hope you can join us. Might have to remove the quotation marks at the beginning. Let's paste that in there. Yep. So it'd be kind of nice to have a, oh wow, it's actually pulled through the formatting there. So if you're going to do this and copy and paste stuff from the suggestions, you might have to use, where is it? Formatting button, there'll be something down here. I'm sure there's a clear format button here somewhere. Maybe it's under one of these. You know, when we see the dots menu and we say, click on the dots menu, there's more than one these days. Clear formatting, there we go. So that brings it back. Cool, okay. So the next thing we'll have a look at is reader sentiment. The email is asking for the project sponsor's feedback, but it does not acknowledge their role or expertise. consider changing the sign-off to thank you for your time and leadership, or thank you for your time and support. I like that second one. Now we've learned that if I copy and paste, it'll pull the formatting across. So I'm just going to do this and support. And maybe, where could I put some further acknowledgement of their role and expertise? I think I am acknowledging them as the project sponsor in this, so I think that's okay. What other suggestions have we got for clarity? The email is vague about some of the topics and the timeline of the campaign. And that is really because we're kicking it off, so we haven't got the campaign going yet. Now, it could be a good assumption, as I've got that detail in there, that once we have that detail available, it's good to have that within an email just to ground the message and where it is, and just to keep it brief. So I do like that suggestion, though it is a bit premature, and there's no way that Copilot would know that we're right at the beginning of the project and starting to think through these things. So yeah, good suggestion. Let's just say that we proposed. I'll put some timeline in here. So across the 9-month series, let's just say we hope we would like. I'm trying to have some more confidence here, Copilot, instead of hope. I'm going to be sure of myself. We would like to start the series in February 2024. All right, so regenerate. Let's see if it comes back with any other suggestions for this more formal project-based email. Tickety tick boom, analyzing. Okay, tone, right? This email sounds a bit demanding and could be unclear about the expected outcome. Interesting. A more positive tone could help to engage the reader. So instead of "I'd like to ask you as the project sponsor," the email could say, "As the project sponsor, we appreciate your input. We value your guidance as the project sponsor." I do like that. I think, yeah, there's the balance of being sure of yourself and asking directly for what you want, but also having a polite manner that is not as demanding. So as these suggestions are given, like this part here, it says, "I'd like to ask you as project sponsor." That's the key text that we're looking for as a place for brushing up on things with the suggestion. So I hope you receive this. I'd like to ask you as project sponsor. And it would be great to see a feature here that when we're getting coaching from Copilot, that as we maybe hover over or look at that particular suggestion, that it highlights it for us, so that even if we click into it, we can get that kind of immediate visual feedback to help us find that content. So we're going to replace this with so to get it off to a good start. We appreciate your input. And that would be a new sentence. Always good to have new sentences instead of linking things together with tons and tons of commas. That sounds a bit better. What else have we got for suggestions? The email did not acknowledge the reader's perspective or potential challenges. Adding more empathy could help build the rapport and trust with the reader. So the email where it says, or it could start with, "I hope this email finds you well." Yeah, yeah, definitely. Or "I hope that you are having a great day." Right, so that's more about the opening. "Hi Robert, we're meeting." So I've got straight down to business, I think, is what this suggestion is, that by getting straight down to business, then the sentiment doesn't really ease people in as more of a polite introduction, but it goes straight into, "Hey, we're going to do this today, and this is what's happening." So I like that suggestion. I don't know. "Hi Robert, I hope your weekend was Great. And then, yeah, we're into the content of the email. Clarity. Email is a bit long. Is it? Is it? I mean, is it? I mean, it's not a chat, and a chat would be, this would be long for a chat. I don't know, I think I've been reasonably concise in terms of what I was looking for. So, interesting suggestion. I'm reacting to this. Copilot, I don't like your coaching in this sense, which could make it hard for the reader to follow the main points and action items. Use bullet points, which I did. The email could use bullet points to list the proposed topics around the 9-month series. Well, you know, if I did that, then the email's definitely going to be longer. But yeah, true. We could pop them in, and yeah, I mean, I would definitely attach the outline for what those topics are. But really, the purpose of this email is just to think about what is the objective for this campaign so that we can drive the topics and make sure that they're aligned to those objectives. So, I like that. Shall we hit it one more time? Yeah, why not? Let's see what it comes up with. This is a bit like, what would I call it? Copilot roulette. Yes. So you can see a pattern here coming where if it is going through and checking things, the suggestions are around tone, around sentiment, and around clarity. Adjust the tone for urgency. The tone of this email is too casual and relaxed for a meeting that is happening today. Yeah, it is. The writer should convey a sense of urgency. Good point. I hope your weekend was great. The email could say, I trust you're well. I hope this email finds you well. Wow. I don't know. Like the suggestion beforehand was to have something like this, and now it's narrowing it down and saying, actually, Copilot's saying, actually, Daryl, what I meant was you should use this one, not that other suggestion. You should use, I trust you're well. I'll go with that. I trust you're well. I trust you are well. Okay. Sentiment should make the email should make the reader valued, acknowledge the reader's expertise. Thank you for your interest and involvement. We are delighted to have you on board. Yeah, I think I've addressed that with that first suggestion, so I think we're fine. Clarity. The email is vague and confusing about the objectives and topics for the campaign. The writer should provide more detail and structure to the email, such as bullet points, headings, numbered lists. Your email could specify the date and time for the meeting. True. Yeah. So I could put in, I hope you received the invite and can join us at, and then put the details in there. But what do you think? This is actually pretty good coaching, and hopefully what I've showed you by going through 2 types of emails and running through and generating different suggestions, that they are suggestions, and they're really just nudges for you to adjust your content in your email. And what I like about this little test here, and I didn't use this much before, I'm doing this live with you now and discovering it. But what I like about it is it's the reverse. As I said earlier, we're prompting AI for, give me this based on these requirements, and it'll come back and draft something for us, and then we tweak it. Whereas this is, I'm writing it, and Copilot is coaching me with things that it probably would drop into a draft. So I like that. It's like pretty good. They're just suggestions. So take them as they are, leave them, or maybe just adapt them to the message and your intent. So that's Copilot in Outlook, the new Outlook. I know, and I don't know if Copilot's coming to Classic Outlook. Potentially it will, because there's still going to be a huge user base using a Classic Outlook. But this is new Outlook. I'm right into using it. I've been using Outlook on the web for some time, and I get to enjoy all the other great stuff that appears in that web-based experience. Copilot and Outlook, coaching me with my email. Let me know what you think about those coaching points, whether you agree, disagree. Maybe you could be like Copilot and make some suggestions to my emails in the comments below. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now.